Hey, Joel, it's Mike Hsu here at the Pike. Thank you very much for taking the time today. I appreciate it, man.
Likewise, brother. Right back at you. I'm working on my authentic pronunciation if I'm a Boston area person, right? Worcester, right?
Worcester. You got to like W-I-S-T-A. Right, Worcester.
Worcester.
Yeah.
Man, what is going on up there? I'm telling you, the accent gets so thick, I can't keep up. Okay, all right.
Yeah, so you guys are going to be here. Once again, it's November 25th. I think it was the same time last year, but it's around Thanksgiving. The TSO tour is such a huge event, and I would imagine mobilizing it is much like kind of a military operation.
Yeah, hey, that's well put. I often call this the Marines of rock. You know, we do 8 shows a week, so it's like when you're doing 2 shows a day on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and they're all in different cities, and you get done doing this tour, and you go off and you play with another band, and you play your 3-4 shows a week. It feels like you're on like the Club Med vacation. It's unbelievable. So, yeah, it's quite an operation we've got. I think usually about 18, 19 semi-trucks happening on each side, about 9 buses. So everything has to operate just like in perfect order for it all to tick and click the right way, especially when you're ending an evening show and you're trying to be set up for an afternoon show then in the next city the following day. So it's quite something to witness.
Al Petrelli was saying this year it's going to be bigger and better than ever. I'm having a hard time wrapping my head around that because the past few tours I've seen, I can't even imagine it getting – like, how can it get bigger? You could probably see it from space if there was no roof.
That goes back to Paul O'Neill's philosophy when he started this was to, it's like he starts on 10 and then, he's trying to push it higher than that every year. So, I like to say it makes our jobs fairly easy as performers. I mean, when you get up there, it's you can almost just look amazing just standing there when you got all this pyro and you got the lasers and the lights happening and the video screen, the width of the arena, and you're on a moving hydraulic lift, out over the crowd and everything. It's pretty easy to come off looking cool in that situation. So I'm just grateful to be a small part of it, man. Trust me.
Well, you're also a member of Whitesnake. You've played with Night Ranger, and you played with Cher. Not only toured with her, but you played at her Vegas residency. So who has a more challenging show? Is it Cher or is it TSO? Because I know she has a pretty huge show, too.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I would say TSO from the standpoint of what we spoke to earlier, just the fact that you do 8 shows a week. And the musicianship is really, really high in the band. I mean, everybody on that stage just plays like incredibly well. So you never want to let them down or let the audience down. And so it requires a lot of mental focus and a lot of physical stamina to be able to perform 8 of those a week, and so it's a very intense tour. It's a short amount of time. I mean, let's face it, nobody wants to go to the Christmas show July 27th.
Right.
So, we're trying to put all this in mid-November through December 31st. So I would say in terms of, what tour is the most difficult, I'll go with TSO. And that has nothing to do with not enjoying it. It's actually, I enjoy every single moment of it, but it's definitely challenging. It pushes you.
Have you ever had a close call on stage? Because I know when there's pyro involved, there's specific places you should be, and you have to know when it's going to go off. Has there ever been a time where you were like, oh, that was a close one?
No close call with the pyro. We've had a couple Spinal Tap moments over the years. I mean, I've been doing this since 2010, so there's definitely been a couple of Spinal Tap moments. But, luckily nothing that was, endangered to anybody in any way. I mean, they're very cautious about that. We have 2.5 weeks of production rehearsals, and they make sure everybody's smart enough to know to stand like in a certain spot and say, hey, it's easier for us than you would think. Most of it happens behind us. Almost all of it happens behind us. So it's just sort of like, hey, just in general, don't stand behind this line and you're not going to be burned to a crisp.
I can't imagine what it feels like on stage, because when I'm sitting in like the 200 section, I can feel the heat up there. I mean, it must be pretty intense where you are. I mean, do you have like an asbestos outfit that you wear?
Yes, the special asbestos TSO outfit. No, I mean, it's just we definitely feel it up there. But honestly, my mental mindset is usually pretty wrapped in the music and in trying to entertain everybody and give everybody their hard-earned money's worth in the show. So it's just, I guess it's just part of it. So I welcome it.
Speaking of the hard-earned money, TSO not only puts on an incredible show, but they are very generous when it comes to charity. Every show there are a couple of charities involved, and that'll be the same for this year, I would assume. I think it's been, is $17-18 million that the group has donated over time?
Yeah, that's all with the O'Neill family. Paul O'Neill, our founder creator, set this up back when we set out on the road in 1999 to do something special and help local charities as we pass through and help make the communities a better place. So yeah, I think we're over $18 million now in terms of what we've been able to get to local charities on the way through. So yeah, it's definitely a little feather in our cap there for sure. That feels good.
Yeah, and that goes along. It goes along with the spirit of Christmas, which is giving, which is compassion, and that's something amazing. So people will spend their hard-earned money and get a great show, and then also know that I think this year, let me see it, Homes for Our Troops is one of the charities, and I've worked with them before, and they're great people. So people know that at least, some of that money is going to a great cause, and maybe an asbestos pair of pants somewhere here.
How much do those cost, I wonder? We might have to go with $1.50 per ticket now or something to pay for the asbestos pants. But that's honestly, that's Paul O'Neill was one of the most generous people I've ever met, if not the most generous person I ever met. And so that's all on Paul. And huge thanks to the family, the O'Neill family, for keeping that alive and keeping Paul's vision alive. He was a special, special person. So, again, it's what's not to like about that if you're a part of something like that. So it feels good.
It's the Christmas spirit. Yeah. So the tickets go on sale this Friday. 2 shows, an afternoon show, evening show, November 25th, right over here at the DCU Center in Worcester. And before I let you go, I got to ask just a couple of Whitesnake questions. You're also a member of Whitesnake. Now, you guys aren't done yet, are you?
That's all got to come from David. We had set out on the farewell tour, and we got, I'd say about like 3/4 of the way through the UK European run, and we're just kind of shut down at that point in time. And David had a sinus infection, and we've just kind of been waiting on what he wants to do from there. I certainly hope that we get to play again. But if not, I certainly respect David's vision with that. He's been building the Whitesnake brand for 45 years or something like that. Again, I've been there about 9-10 years now. So whatever David wants to do, he's got my full support. He's just an outstanding guy, great friend, great boss. So I got his back, whatever he wants to do, man. I'm 100% in support of that. If he feels like hanging it up, then, we're all going to be with him on that. But we're all obviously hoping that we get to play again.
Yeah, absolutely. I only ask because there's a lot of people that say it's a farewell tour, and then a couple of years later they come back. Kiss has been doing their farewell tour for over 30 years now.
Yeah, and like I said, that all comes down to David. Whitesnake is really David Coverdale's baby. It's whatever he wants to do, I'm cool with. I'm absolutely thrilled to have had the last 9-10 years with the band and get to work with David and play that amazing catalog of songs. What a catalog. It's unbelievable. It's something that a lot of people don't realize until they go through and they listen to all the Whitesnake music, how many great songs. There's so many great tracks that weren't necessarily like the top 5 hits, Here I Go Again. Everybody knows that, and Still of the Night, etc. But man, so many great tracks.
Yeah, I kind of hope he comes back, does a few U.S. dates to catch him one more time. But yeah,
I know he's definitely floated it in some interviews. He has not announced and said he's done. And honestly, the way we interact as a band is there's a lot of humor. We have a lot of fun together, but we all just kind of respectfully wait on David to talk about these things. We don't press him and say, "Hey, what's the deal? What's the deal?" So we just kind of wait on it just like you guys do, even though the only difference being that we joke around with him kind of on a daily basis on the band thread.
Yeah, and David Coverdale, if anyone follows him on Twitter or as it's called now X, he is hilarious. What about Joel Hoekstra's 13? What now? Will you be playing some dates with them also?
Something that I definitely wouldn't rule out. I mean, I just released the third album from Joel Hoekstra's 13, and that's Vinny Appice from Dio and Black Sabbath on drums, and Tony Franklin from Blue Murder and the Firm on bass. Derek Sherinian, one of the greatest keyboard players in rock today, and my friend Jeff Scott Soto does the backing vocals on those albums for me, and then an amazing new singer named Girish Pradhan singing lead on this new one called Crash of Life that came out in June, I think, this year. So very excited to have 3 albums out with that, and of course, working with Dean Castronovo from Journey and Jeff Pilson in Revolution Saints as well, and so I'm staying busy and doing the best to keep my musical skills sharp outside of when I do the Trans-Siberian tour. And obviously this one, pushes me where I get out there and you've got the 8 shows a week and you've got, these musicians playing on this high level. The talent pool of TSO is insane. So all these things, everything we're talking about, man, I'm just honored to be a part of. When I set out to play guitar at 11 years old, if you had told me that, I'd play in Whitesnake and play in Night Ranger and play in Trans-Siberian Orchestra. I mean, all of it is, I'm really lucky to have been a part of any of it, even just one of them, much less all of it.
Yeah. Well, we're looking forward to it once again. DCU Center, November 25th, 2 shows. The tickets go on sale this Friday. Joel Hoekstra, thank you very much. Looking forward to seeing you with TSO coming up in November.
Can't wait. Thank you so much for your time today. Appreciate it.